Imagine having an AI-powered search engine for candidate profiles from across the open web and even from within your own ATS. Well, that's exactly what HireTool is. HireTool is a global talent platform that serves all recruiters, from small businesses to the world's largest enterprises. And with 750 million plus profiles from over 45 open web sources and channels and 30 plus integration partners, there's literally something for everyone. Recruiters can find more talent with AI sourcing, send unlimited emails, and integrate with your favorite recruitment tools all in one platform. If you're spending hours looking for qualified candidates, underrepresented talent, and updated contact information, then HireTool is probably what you need for your toolkit. HireTool is a platform that helps great recruiters accomplish more every single day. Check them out at hiretool.com.
HR Famous, what's up? This is Jessica Lee with my friends Chris Dunn and Tim Sackett. Chris Dunn, who actually we should start calling Christian Dunn, because that's where you guys will now find him on the Peloton app if you are choosing to be there. I started an account for you, Mr. Dunn, at Christian Dunn. So Peloton Nation, please follow him. And then you can also follow Tim. But here's what I wanted to start with is I created an account for you. I feel very powerful, very empowered. I chose your username. I even chose your password. And I don't know if you would have chosen that for yourself, but you know, it brings up the whole username thing around like, what does it say about us when we're picking our usernames? Tim Sackett, what would you have chosen for Mr. Dunn?
Oh no, I like something around the KD life coach or something like that, right? Like, I mean, that's the joke of it, even though there's probably a million life coaches on Peloton that have some kind of form of that, which I think is super funny. Hey, speaking of like picking usernames, Jay, have you gotten the URLs or the Twitter or Instagram handles for your kids yet?
So I did reserve their names at gmail.com for email. I didn't get around to like social handles. So I'm a little bit behind, but I felt like email was important, at least for now.
I got the boys' URLs for their like websites and stuff. And like, even though none of them have them, every year, like, you know, or not every year, every couple of years, whatever I buy, like when you pay for the URL, it comes up and I always ask them like, hey, do you want me to keep paying for this? And they always are like, yeah, you never know. Right. Like keep it. So
I love that. Well, we should actually check to see if christiandunn.com is available on GoDaddy.
We know Chris Dunn isn't.
Chris, though, what would you have chosen for username? You wouldn't have chosen Christian Dunn, would you?
So first of all, you're a big enough influence in my life, JLee, that, you know, I just kind of, I don't have any criticisms of the name you chose for me. I just kind of take it and say,
my mama called me Christian. It's fine.
It must be correct because JLee gave it to me. You know, my style would be to go to KD and then that would not be available.
No.
And then I would say, all right, I'm going to do some numbers here. And then I would add KD. I would add a 182 behind it so I could remember it because of my affinity for Blink 182, which obviously is a guilty pleasure because nobody says they have an affinity for Blink 182.
I didn't know that's what how you got your Instagram.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that either. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's it, right? The name was taken. What can I remember?
Oh, 182. Well, I like that you would have chosen 182 over like 311. I mean, there are some 311 fans out there, but I think 182 is a little bit cooler. And also it's better than I often see people of some generations choosing like their birthday or their birth year. And I'm like, too much info.
Yeah. Especially all the ladies
alert.
Yeah,
the password alert one. Oh, the too many ladies with the 69-year birth date. That seems like so like old now. Like, come on, stop that.
Summer of 69, maybe for them.
But you know, actually, speaking of which, my daughter, I think she's growing in her self-awareness. But she said to me the other day, "Is there anyone else in the world with my name?" And I'm like, Yeah, of course there are. And so we started Googling it. I think she was like, oh, so there's like 4 other people with my name. I'm like, no, honey. Like there's a lot of people with your name. And it turns out there's actually someone with the same first last name combo, which I was actually surprised by, but she has taken the URL already, which I'm like, damn you.
JLee, is it true? This is an interesting kind of moment for me. So you're open to Blink 182. I just figured this out. So you're open based on kind of how you came online and did all this. So I can send you Blink 182 videos.
I mean, you could send it and I wouldn't judge you. I don't know that I would watch it, but like I'm not going to judge your like of Blink 182.
Katie,
you think I'm that elitist?
Katie, give me a percentage of stuff we send JLee that she actually looks at or reads.
I try and like carve it down, right? So you and I are like just pounding each other left and right.
High profile. Yeah.
I try and carve it down for JLee.
By the way, I like Blink 182. Like it maybe mostly because I like Travis Barker. So like it's specific to the person. And of course it's even more salient today in 2021 because he is dating one of the Kardashian sisters and I am here for it. Like I think it's kind of cool. You didn't know that?
Well, I did know that, but I'm just super happy that we got clarity on you being pro Blink 182. It just opens up a lot of horizons for our friendship. And,
Katie,
and I'm thankful for that. Is this Thanksgiving? It feels like Thanksgiving.
What's my age again? What?
Exactly.
What's the over-under for Blink 182 at SHRM annual 2022?
I was going to say, by the way, JLee, Tim sent me something. He's getting ready for Disrupt HR in Lansing. And by the time we like put this up, it'll be over. But he has this meme that says "change my mind," and you have to put something above it. Have you seen that, JLee?
Mm-hmm. No.
So I was giving him options to like Photoshop in above "change my mind." It's a guy like at a table in a park. Yeah, you're supposed to put something in there. And one of the things I put in there was Michael Bolton should be at annual SHRM every year, and then underneath it says "change my mind."
Oh my gosh! You know what? No,
it's a popular meme, Jay. It's a popular meme that like people will go like, climate, change is a hoax. Change my mind. And like they're in like Central Park at a table and then they have like a couple mics and they basically debate. And then so it's like a thing that goes around the internet where everyone's taken that picture and changed the sign for whatever dumb thing they're thinking about that day.
Oh, I love it. Blink 182 is the best band in the world. Change my mind. That is what Kristen would have.
Bam. There you go. I like it.
Change my mind.
Style.
Oh, you know what? So Travis Barker, not to take us down a bunny trail, but Travis Barker and the Kardashian, I think it's Kourtney that he's dating. I mean, this is life-changing stuff. Like with the plane crash he was in, he hasn't flown in a plane forever since then. And she helped him get on the plane for the first time in his life since the plane crash. And she's opening his, horizons up. And I think it's pretty darn cool. We all need people in our lives.
Was that an episode?
Probably. I'm sure it was because Chris the Momager was also on the trip and they took a private plane. And so, yes, that is for TV ratings.
Speaking of Kardashians, Jay, did you see Saturday Night Live and Kim's
yes.
You did? Okay, we didn't talk about it.
Well, no. So her opening monologue, but actually where I thought you was going to go, I thought it was good. But lately when Kim has been in New York City, she has been staying at a Marriott hotel, the location to remain unnamed. No, not the Edition. Her choice was not what I would have pegged her for, but I love it because every time there's the paparazzi pictures of her in New York, I see some of our doormen opening the doors for her and like being all professional, but also like, hey, I'm opening a door for Kim Kardashian. And so it's just fun. I love that. Nice. I think that's cool.
Hey, by the way, just to round out this Blink 182 talk, the Kardashian
and 182.
The Kardashian connection is not the biggest issue for Blink 182 fans. Okay.
What is it?
And I'm not like subscribed to an email like newsletter or anything, but the lead guitarist, Tom DeLonge, like left Blink 182 and they plugged in the Alkaline Trio lead singer who has a high-pitched voice, much like Tom. And, some people would say they didn't miss a beat. There's a lot of controversy there, JLee. I'll bring you up to speed with links, maybe a fanzine if you're lucky, like shipped to you.
Not that I want to spend the whole episode talking about Blink-182, but I will say their lead singer, I've actually always been impressed with the way he's aged. I think he's aged gracefully. There are a lot of rock stars, if we were going to call them rock stars. There are a lot of rock stars where I just am like, ooh, like you've been doing too many drugs. You're not looking too good. And is it Mr. Hoppus? Any pictures I've seen, I'm like, oh, you don't look so bad. Travis Barker looks pretty good too. So
Hoppus still with the band, bassist. Yeah, and you're right. He still has a lot of hair product, right? He's trying to remain like where he's at. By the way, bout with cancer recently, JLee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think that is rectified.
So the audience
yet.
Is like, do you guys plan anything for these pods, or do you just literally get on and the first thing that comes to mind? Because we actually talk, like, hey, we're going to talk about whatever. Blink-182 never came up in like the pre-show notes. Like it was never a topic ever. And we just spent 10 minutes on Blink-182.
I mean, isn't that how life works? When do things go exactly according to plan? Well, if we are to stick to the plan, the thing that we can't stop talking about, of course, endlessly ad nauseum is the state of the world of work. And, all of the things that we are going through as some of us are virtual, hybrid, maybe some
all the
of
small
us are
things,
to work.
JLee?
Yes. Don't make me sing it. I mean, now I'm just feeling like an itch to sing. So first thing, I'm having anxiety because when we return to work, I'm not going to be able to multitask anymore during meetings because you're going to see me. And so I just don't know what to do about this. Like, do I just need to stop multitasking? Do I just need to openly multitask and own it? Are we just all going to be less productive? I don't know what to do about this. I mean, Tim, you've been in the office, so maybe this anxiety is not yours, but like Mr. Dunn, I mean, from a life coach perspective too, what am I going to do when I can't multitask anymore? I'm just going to be less productive. I'm stressed out.
I think you're making the assumption that the number of meetings you're going to have that have like bled you dry during the pandemic is going to be the same once you're all back in the office. So if you remember, at least for me, and I think similar for all of you, when we went away, I felt like a lot of us met more on Teams and Zoom because we thought we had the need to connect, right? Everybody was, hey, let's stay connected. Let's get this, blah, blah, blah. I'm hopeful that the number of meetings will decrease. Now, the only catch to that, Tim Sackett, is that if we have true hybrid teams, we're always going to want it, like we're still going to meet a lot, because we want to make sure that the hybrid people don't get left behind, right? So we're still going to try and replace all of this drive-by. Hey, I'm walking by Jessica's office. Yeah, I've walked by 3 times to see if she'll like acknowledge me so I can have the important conversation with her. So we're not going to do that as much because we're going to say that we've got to include, Timmy from Flint, who's remote 100% of the time. So Tim, I don't know if the number of meetings going down or not.
Yeah, I do. I mean, but plus I think we forget, big conference room meetings that we were in, everybody, probably 60% of the people had their laptops open, right? And then you would be multitasking anyways. You would act like you were taking notes, but no one was really taking notes. Like you didn't hear like nonstop, and so people were taking notes. And then like the great power move is when someone's actually, like, you want to show them you're listening, you kind of half close the laptop. Like, hey, I care enough about you that I'm going to close this, but I'm not so much so that I'm going to have to log back in and then have to restart this email that I'm sending to somebody.
Boss move, laptop open. I don't care about what you're saying, but actually you just said something compelling. I'm going to close it to a 45-degree angle. So I love that. But actually the other night I was on a call with a bunch of people who were in Hong Kong. They were in the office together. They all had their laptops, but they were in the office together because there were some of us who were in a different location. And, the thing that's going to be problematic with that boss move is they had their laptops open so that they each could have their own camera and we could see their faces for those of us who are not in the room. But if you close your laptop to a 45-degree angle, we can't see you anymore.
Now you're looking at their crotch. Yeah.
That's a real boss move.
Hey, so if that's a true boss move, like what's next? Are you just going to start throwing Kit Kats at people like little rats on a hamster wheel to say, good job, Jimmy.
You got the answer right.
That was a great point, and you now have my approval.
Yeah.
And 55% of my attention. Hey, so I've got a question for you, JLee. This is straight out of the Christian Dunn OD life coach book. What if I told you that you could limit every meeting to 20 minutes as long as you gave 100% attention? Would you take that versus what you have now? Not meetings above you, but all the meetings at your peer level and below. 20 minutes, we get in. Maybe there's a little research ahead of time to have a take. We debate, we decide, and we get out. ChristianDunnLifeCoach.com.
Hello, this is Michael Vandervoort from the Drive-Thru HR podcast, where we discuss ideas, trends, and activities that impact HR, talent, HR technology, and the workplace. Our focus is on expanding knowledge and igniting curiosity as we hear directly from people who are shaping the future of the HR industry. Join us.
Well, if I also think back to other Christian Dunn life coach feedback and dialogue, I think my answer is supposed to be no, because for the 20-minute meeting to work, that actually means like you can't really have banter. You got to get in, get out, get right to it. And the people like the banter. They like the small talk. They want to talk about how their weekend was. They want to hear, about, the latest Blink 182 single, all of that. So that's problematic. The other thing is, I think I have shared, I like being efficient. Give me a pre-read. Send it to me in advance. I'm going to read it. I don't want to be presented to. I'm going to just go right to the questions.
Pre-read.
And that is limiting people's ability to present, work on their platform skills. And it's kind of taking away from them being able to do a voiceover, tell me their strategy. So you can't do that in 20 minutes. That's me not being a good leader. We're not going to be able to do it.
So Christian Dunn Life Coach would say you're actually growing them in a different way. Right.
Oh.
So you're sacrificing platform skills, but you're really upping the comms digital influence side of that.
The best part of my week is listening to Chris talk in the third person. It's the most amazing time.
I do love that talking in the third person. I'd like to know what that means about people. Because yes.
I have some observations, but I won't.
I'm going to start keeping a list in my notebook of speaks in the third person and does not. Because I actually think there's something to that. There's probably research on it. Okay, so we're saying don't get too stressed out about the multitasking. People were already doing it anyways. I may get to continue to do it. And let's just be real, amongst us, I was going to say us hens, but you two are not hens. Amongst us friends,
we are. Yeah.
I'm a woman and we're just better at multitasking. So why am I even stressing out? I'm good at it. I'm going to keep being good at it. You others, I'm not quite sure. So you stay focused, me keep multitasking. It's in my DNA. I'm great at it. Keep going for it.
Just ask her. I'm
multitasking right now. I mean, let's be real.
Hey, JLee, could you repeat what you just said?
I'm multitasking right now.
Yeah, he was just saying that because he was checking email.
Well, no, he's saying that all and testing to see, am I just literal and can I track when he's saying sarcastic?
And it turns out you are.
It turns out I am quite literal. Okay, next topic, related, unrelated. So, we've got lots of great management thinkers out there, thought leaders in the space of leadership. One I do happen to like is a gentleman by the name of Adam Grant. And he wrote an essay in the Wall Street Journal just recently that I thought was interesting and worth talking about a little bit. Even though we'd all rather talk about Hoppus and Travis Barker. So the essay was entitled "The Real Meaning of Freedom at Work." And the reason why I thought it was worth talking about is, we've talked about the Great Resignation, which has led to the staffing shortage or the staffing issue, the labor shortage, whatever we want to call these things. And I think part of what, people have wondered, do we have staffing shortages and labor issues because people are being incentivized intensifies in such a way where maybe they just aren't going to return to work. And everyone thought, well, maybe September, October, they'll all return to work. But then what we're starting to see is, conversation and dialogue and studies about the Great Resignation. And I think it's raised good questions about, what's prompting it. And one of the things that Adam has talked about is just a bit about, what may be driving it is something different. And so I'll read a piece to you and then let's maybe chat a bit about it. So here's what Adam Grant says. The Great Resignation is not a mad dash away from the office. It's the culmination of a long march toward freedom. More than a decade ago, psychologists documented a generational shift in the centrality of work in our lives. Millennials were more interested in jobs that provided leisure time and vacation time than Gen Xers and baby boomers. They were less concerned about net worth than net freedom. And so he goes on to talk about this notion of negative liberty versus positive liberty and the desire to really control more of your own destiny, shape your own life, and how that translates into the world of work. And so I wanted to talk about this idea of, positive liberty, the idea of can we really control, our work world? And is that what's causing people to decide this isn't the job for me? And, really some of the things that he talks about is people's desire to choose who they work with, choose how they work, choose where they work, choose what the work is that they're doing. And I just can't help but wonder, is that reality? Is this the thing that we need to contend with? Are we all in a place of needing to give people all of the positive liberty in the world so that we can then retain them and they don't, resign and leave us, or that we're attracting everyone that we need to? Positive liberty, ability to choose and shape everything. Because I know Kristen is multitasking. I'll start with you, Tim Sackett, around positive liberty.
Hey, by the way, I just had to write down the words positive liberty so I can remember it. Back to you, Tim. That's what you're literally saying. What I'm doing.
Chris is writing down. He was like, oh, wait, I need to get Swiffer refills. Let me put that on the grocery list.
I'm like, what is it? Positive liberty. All right.
Positive
over
what?
to Timmy.
Jay, there's a part of this where I go, again, big fan of Adam Grant. He's kind of a poor man's Malcolm Gladwell. I like Gladwell better than Adam. Adam uses data more than they both use data, but I think Malcolm uses storytelling. Adam just is really heavy into the data aspect of a lot of stuff that he does. But they're very similar in terms of they see a problem and they come at it differently and make you really think about it. And just like this one, I think it's great. But then when you realize what he does for a career, being a professor at an elite university, he might have 4 hours of real work a week. I have a buddy who works for, that's a professor, and I tease him and we joke about it that he teaches 2 classes a semester. That's 6 hours a week that he teaches. And then you have to have other time, blah, blah, blah. But we joke about it at this point where he's reached tenure. Again, I understand that's a big school problem. Like our buddy Matt Stolick, AKA Bruno, 8-man rotation, friend of the show. He's working for a smaller liberal arts school and they bust his butt and probably make him teach 10 classes a semester. But there's people that have the ability to have this positive liberty to choose what they want. Overall, though, isn't it such a tiny fraction of the population that can ever have this for them to say, this is what people really want? Well, of course, it's what they really effing want. Like everybody wants that. We all want to decide what we work and how we work. That's my take.
Cynical, huh?
You caught me on the wrong day. I just it is. KD, positive liberty. How much positive liberty do you have?
I wrote down the words positive liberty. Shout out to Adam Grant. I think it comes, I think we're talking about 10% of the population, right? That actually has the ability to chase something like positive liberty. So the concept is that if you're at a company that allows you to chase things, let's say you could stay at a company rather than jump to another company or have a period of unemployment because you could recharge your batteries. I think if you were at a company that could actually provide this, you're at a company that has so high of margins that they can experiment with their whatever they consider to be their best and their elite workers to keep them happy. The usual suspects come to mind, right? Google, probably Microsoft, Facebook. I think for the rest of the people, it's harder to do that. I also think, JLee, that the older you get, if kids enter into the equation and you're responsible, like for a household, I think it's harder to chase positive liberty. So I think this is a young person's game related to chasing positive liberty or being part of an established elite worker class at an organization with big margins.
KD, you said it was a young person's game. At the same time, I really caution to say that maybe like when you have younger people coming into the workforce for the first time, and we're seeing this because of the pandemic as well, they say that they want this positive liberty. At the same time, they don't know what to do. They want to be told what to do. They need to be trained. They need some hand holding. And so like, again, like this isn't something like that's super young. Like you have to feel like you're in control and know what you're doing before you can go, oh, by the way, now I have this need to kind of decide what I want to do around work. Jay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so the flip side of that, so I agree. There's some privilege interlaced in the notion of positive liberty. But if you think about yourself as a consumer, whether you're young, old, whatever, like there's no way in heck you want to go to the mall, the supermarket, or let's just talk about your Amazon deliveries where that person who's fulfilling that service is exercising their positive liberty to be like, yep, you know what? I know this person ordered 2-day delivery on Prime or same day, but I actually am going to decide to wrap up my shift right now. And I'm not going to finish my delivery route because I am choosing when and how I'm going to work, not going to fulfill it. And so, I think that it's interesting when we start thinking about like who really has the ability to exercise positive liberty. One thing I do think is interesting, and we'll put, the article in the liner notes, is they do talk about Morningstar, which is, a California tomato paste company, where they figured out some ways to introduce concepts of positive liberty. And as a tomato paste company, it's a manufacturing type of environment, things of that sort. But they have this concept where you get hired, you're signed into the job of a predecessor, and then after a year, you have the opportunity to rewrite your job description. And there's 2 conditions. You got to explain how the job is changing and how it will advance the company's mission. But maybe the more important thing, you got to get all the people you work with to buy in and align and say, okay, yes, that is a good way for us to revise things. And so I'm kind of, fascinated by Morningstar's approach, and, especially if it's a manufacturing environment where you're making tomato paste of all things, if they can figure it out and have success with it, what does it mean for everyone else? I think it's interesting.
I do think like it's a really great way to do that because it's such a small percentage will actually go after it, right? If you have 100 employees, you might have 2 or 3 or 4 that will say, hey, I want to try this. And even only probably 50% of those who do it will be able to come to an agreement with everybody. And so it does, it's one of those things. It's kind of like Katie loves college tuition benefit, right? Because it looks super great. Like, hey, we're going to pay for your college, but no one uses it. This is another one of those. Like, hey, I want positive liberty. Okay, here's your avenue to positive liberty. And if you really want to do the work to go down this path to get it, great. But so few at that point will choose it, right? Because they'll go, oh, I don't know. And it's, they just want to say, oh, no, I just want to do what I want to do. Instead of saying, wait, there has to be a benefit to the company, has to be a benefit to you. Like, let's go and talk to people about this and be adults about it.
And JLee, the opposite of having that process at Morningstar that you just described, the opposite of that is chasing something unknown, which is kind of in this whole like performance realm, meets versus exceeds. It's chasing some type of value. And really to let people do that, like minus like Morningstar doing it the way you described, there's accountability that goes with that, right? To actual like results. Yep. Like it's actually going to be better, which by the way, full circle goes back to what Tim reacted to, which is if the majority of people just want to be told what to do, there's a lot of different reasons for that, right? So again, we're kind of back to what kind of percentage of the population do we think would react and chase positive liberty, whether it's the Morningstar process or whether it's just somebody saying, hey, you got a lot of freedom, but like we need to see some results. By the way, in the big companies, maybe they, performance like measurements was a problem. Maybe they don't even like really chase like what the results actually are, like of all that. which seems incredibly like backwards, but I'm all for positive liberty. Like it's 3:31 on the East Coast. Like I'm ready for about an hour and a half of positive liberty.
You know what I'm all for? The fact that people want to be told what to do. Because guess what? I like telling people what to do. So
amen.
It's just amazing how that works out.
Preach it, sister.
By the way, tomato paste, buy it in the tube, not a can. That's my pro tip for everyone today, which is, when you buy it in a tube, you can screw that, tube cap back on after you've used a little bit of tomato paste, whereas with a can, hard to preserve it. You got to open that can up.
I don't think I've ever seen tomato paste in a tube, so I'll have to look for that.
You're shopping at a different place than JLee is, Kim.
No, Safeway has tomato paste in a tube.
Let me just say that.
Oh my goodness.
Like your store looks different than her store.
Yep. Big Ten versus SEC. Yep.
That's right. Well, you guys, positive liberty. I am also choosing who I do the podcast with and what we talk about. That is that's what happens when I get to be the host. And so I'm cutting us off. I'm done because I'm actually hungry now that we're talking about tomato paste, and I got to go check the pantry to see, can I make some red pasta or something delicious? So you guys, with that, I'm Jessica Lee. He's Christian Dunn on Peloton. Sack It To Me would be the other one. And you guys might end up finding me
by the way,
if you follow them.
I was on last night, and these shows you they're your friends that are on, but when you click on that, you don't get to see what friends. You get to see the classes they're in. And I guess you then could look. But they don't they should just tell you, hey, these people are your friends and here's the classes they're in. You could jump in and just F with them.
Oh my gosh. If you were on when I was on, I'm probably embarrassed for what I tried yesterday, which is just a reminder of I have no dance skills. It was really horrific and I'm never doing that again. So dance cardio is not my thing, but I digress. It's another episode of HR Famous. I'm Jessica Lee. He's Chris Dunn and he is Tim Sackett, and we are out.